Here on the Creative Thinker Podcast, we discuss all theories, philosophy, and thought behind the creative process. And we hope that you find some inspiration along the way. Hello and welcome to the Creative Thinker Podcast. My name is Henry Moon, and I'll be your host. And I am joined by Michael Vasquez, our beloved co-host. And it is our great honor and privilege to bring to you an interview with Pitmaster Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Doing good, sir.
Yeah? Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man.
Good. Glad to have you. So I actually work with you. So
yes.
This was an easy one.
Yes. Just walked over a few feet and told me to come on. I was like, sure, why not?
It's like, hey, dude, our content is kind of meh. We want to come on and save us with that beautiful voice. Listen to him. Paul, say something.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, see, exactly. He's taking over, the new creative thinker.
Yes. I'm taking both of your jobs.
Yay. There we go.
And both, yeah, exactly. Okay, I just got there. Wow. All right. Need more caffeine. But so you have been a pitmaster, obviously, for a year at HEB. Mm-hmm. But your love of food did not start there. Your love of cooking did not start there. Mm. So take us back. How did you get into food? What made you love it?
I guess back when I was a wee little lad, I would always watch the Food Network stuff, and the food looked amazing on there, and I would just watch that over and over and over again, and would always try to cook and stuff like that. And it's definitely always interesting, especially first starting out. Like, my parents would always want to like change the recipe or something. And I always wanted to like focus on the recipe, like let's start with the recipe, but then it always changed it. And then eventually I just started, as I got older and stuff, started doing more on my own. And so it's kind of started there. And then eventually, I think back in like 2015, I was actually recently looking on my Instagram, and I saw a picture of a brisket on there, and it looked terrible. Definitely was not trimmed properly, but I was happy about it. And I've been I love to learn how to cook, and it's something very relaxing. And so yeah.
Is cooking pretty big in your family, or like are you sort of the outlier in that? Like you're the only one that cooks, and so you ended up being the person that cooks, and then you started to get good at it? Or was it like, I don't know, some families have a culture around food. Mine was like, what can you microwave? And I didn't get into food till I got married. Like my wife was like, you need to figure out how to make something, you know? So what was it like for you?
I guess for me, it was surprisingly, I guess my dad that cooked the most. He was I guess kind of the best cook between my mom and my dad.
No offense, Mom.
No offense. It wasn't her thing, but yeah. So my dad loved to cook. Like he would always cook. Like I remember, especially growing up with fideo, which is a Hispanic dish, and also he would make menudo every once in a while. And I just loved it when he cooked, and it was always something special. And then as I started getting older and he started getting older, sadly, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's when I was in 7th grade. So he kind of stopped doing it. And then I kind of started taking more over it and fell in love with it even more. And they liked it. And I love serving people food. So.
Yeah, was something awesome about making a really good meal. And then like when you really enjoy cooking it and you set it in front of somebody and they really enjoy eating it, I don't know, there's something really magical about that.
I mean, especially with barbecue, since you like cook a brisket, it's like at least a 12-hour process. If not, for me, it's more of like almost a 2-day process, because I cook it one day, I let it rest for like pretty much almost a whole nother day. And so it's like once you finally see like the joy that they get to have from having it, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Were you allowed in the kitchen when your dad was cooking? That was always a thing. On top of it being like canned or microwaved, it was like stay out of the kitchen. But I was also like one of 6 kids, so it was like all the kids had to stay out of the kitchen unless it was like the oldest. But was it something where you got to help out, or was it?
I mean, I definitely helped out and stuff, and it was I mean, it was just me. I'm an only child, so I think they appreciated the help when I could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it? I was just talking about this right before we started. That I feel like everything that I see you do, you take a lot of care and attention. You go through it very methodically, slowly, make sure all the details are set. You're building this little foundation. You know, it's like every time I walk past you, it's like you've got a little bit more of the foundation, and it's like the last 3 or 4 steps go by so fast that I feel like I miss them most of the time, because it's like you built yourself up, you built the base and got everything done so that it gets done immaculately and quickly, you know, slow is smooth is fast, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess my question is, without getting too deep into like, what's your life philosophy? It's like, was it the same parents who taught you that outlook on life, or is that something you picked up along the way?
I mean, I definitely would say, I guess mostly my dad. He, like, one day told me, like, he would always, whatever you do, always take your pride with you. Take whatever you're going to do it to the best that you can. And that definitely always stuck with me. And also, he's just flat out the hardest worker I've ever known. Like right now, he's remodeling the bathroom, and he's in his 70s with Parkinson's and all this stuff. And so he's just always going, which is definitely one of the things I admire. He's just always willing to help others when they need it. And I don't know, it's just crazy, something to aspire to be like that.
Mm-hmm. I think I've heard, I mean, that's a beautiful story, and thank you for sharing. But something that I try to bring to our listeners, and just in general, try to understand about looking for art in everyday places, that there is, what am I trying to say? That there is beauty in work if you bring the beauty to work.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if all your job is, your entire life is moving boulders from one place to another, you could just show up and do your boulder moving time and go back home and take no fulfillment out of it and bring no extra anything to it. Or you could show up, like it sounds like your dad does and you do, and you know, make an art out of it, and make it a process, and make sure, you know, every boulder is in the correct place when you get it there. Make sure, you know, I'm going to kill that analogy if I keep trying to use it. But yeah, there's definitely an art in what you do if you, if you're an artist. And so I kind of want to transition from that back into, because the way you talk about brisket, it's like you get that far off glint in your eye, and it gets, you know, it's super inspiring. I was like, I want to go home and cook right now. Like, and it's not one of my favorite activities, you know? But yeah, where did you develop the love for brisket specifically? I know there's some, like, a time component to it, but it's also like, when you find your food niche or your art niche, then it's like, I don't know, there's so much freedom in that, and so much excitement. And that's what I see in you. So could you explain that process?
I guess for me, it started, like cooking the briskets specifically for Easter or Christmas. And I eventually found Aaron Franklin, which he's the guy that everyone loves. Like he's the guy.
Mr. Brisket.
Yeah, Mr. Brisket. Definitely. I've never heard of someone call him that, but I feel like that definitely.
Sorry if that's disrespectful.
I feel like that should be his name.
Right.
He had a bunch of PBS videos that I just watched over and over and over and over and over again, just to try to pick out any little detail that I saw on it, even just like the stuff that he wasn't technically talking about, but just try to find those little things that he's doing that maybe he doesn't even realize that he's doing. And it started with those videos, and then I eventually got he had like a masterclass video series I got that, and I got his book, and just wanted to know everything, especially I guess with barbecue in general. I don't know. I just like looking at fires.
Heard.
Like one of my just favorite things in the world is just to see like a bed of coals. It's just that mix of orange and black, and it's just all kind of shimmering. And then you put a new wood on, and it catches. It's just like that burnt orange is just my favorite color in the world. I just love looking at it, and then just like with cooking brisket, especially just finding all the details, like especially with shaping a brisket, like that's a huge part of how successful you are going to be overall with the cook. Can you take, it's almost kind of like, I think I've heard like how,
Like sculpture?
yeah, like sculpture, taking away what's not part of it. Because like when I trim a brisket, I'm trying to take away what's either going to burn up, what's going to dry out, what's going to impede the overall main brisket from cooking correctly, what's going to impede the fat from rendering how I want it to. Just want to give it that nice shape. That's, some people describe it almost kind of like a race car, because especially when you're cooking on an offset smoker, the smoke flow is going to go over the brisket. You just want to not have any sort of thing that can catch on. You don't want any jagged pieces. You just want everything to, just like in general when you're cooking, like you want everything to be the same size, so things aren't overcooking or undercooking. Okay.
So when you're talking about like making the brisket, when was the first time you started like doing your research into like making a brisket or making your barbecue? And then versus, I guess, when did you do that first? Because everyone, were you born and raised in Texas?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So barbecue's in our blood, right?
Yeah.
So from when did you become interested in like, okay, I want to barbecue, I want to do this, and then actually doing it? What was the time frame between those two kind of things?
I mean, I guess it felt, honestly, I don't know why like initially I got like started with a brisket. Like it almost just feels like it just happened naturally on its own. I guess I just bought a brisket one day, and my parents had like the smallest Traeger you can possibly have.
Yeah.
Like I would put the brisket on there, and especially back then I would have a water pan, and I would like, it was just maxed out the little cooker as much as possible. I would have to try to get the smallest brisket I could. Like I guess I tried to do it. Either I bought a brisket first, or I watched the video. Maybe I watched the video first and just kind of.
So you just went for it then?
Yeah, I just went for it. And
like how old were you when that happened?
I guess back in 2015, 14. And
made a post immediately.
And I guess, yeah, I was so proud of it.
Yeah, as you should have been.
Heck yeah.
And
I mean, that's gutsy to just like go and do it, because I mean, I feel like you see people like smoke briskets or, you know, make their briskets however they do it. And then you're like, for me, who's not a big barbecue guy, as far as making it, I would have no idea where to start with. I'd be so nervous.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I just did it, and I don't know. Like at the very end of the day, like it's generally very edible.
Generally, come on, man.
Like if you're gonna give someone like a piece of meat that's been smoked for a long time, like most people aren't gonna complain about it.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I just kept doing it over and over again, and finally kept watching more and more videos. And I felt like, especially over the past several years, I guess more with how YouTube's been growing, like there's just a ton of videos on there now that you can watch.
Yeah.
And especially Chud's barbecue. I think his real name's Brad Robinson. He's been like my hero for barbecue. I feel like I learned most of everything from him as well. He also, because I also built my own smoker 2 years ago. I didn't know how to weld, and I had
Just drop that in there.
I know,
right?
I had a friend that taught welding up in Dallas, and he was like, "Hey, come up for a day, and I'll teach you like the bare minimum of how to get started." And so I did, and just slowly over like about half the year built my own smoker. And then I would also reach out to Brad, and he would actually help me out every once in a while with dimensions and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he helped me out a lot. Very thankful for him.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's super impressive, dude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go near a welder.
Yeah. So you had 1 day of training.
Like half a day of training.
Half a day. And made your own smoker. Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So that's, I love welding.
Now?
Yeah.
Or you did at the time?
I mean, I love welding now. Like, I wish I had more time and kind of space to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little nervous because my dad's a woodworker.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always wood everywhere. And so I'm like a little nervous to
Makes
fire up a
sense.
welder.
Makes sense.
I don't want to catch,
Wood powder?
don't want to catch things on fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that. Yeah, it took me about half a year, and like, I love it. So, because I had found an offset smoker, I think like the year prior, from this guy. He was like literally moving like the next day or something.
Mhm.
He's like, "I'll sell it to you for $100," and I was like, "Sold, I'll take it."
Heck yeah.
It's like then it was probably like 400. Of course, now with inflation, it's probably like 500 something.
Yeah.
So
Do you mind describing what an offset smoker is versus the smoker that you built? Are they the same? Are they different? I have no idea.
So I guess the offset term is normally like with grilling stuff, you have the heat source that's directly underneath the cooking. With an offset, you're going to have your fire off to the side, and it's going to be generally a little bit lower.
Okay.
So the flame in the smoke's going to go up and then into the smoke chamber. And so it's just kind of more of an indirect cooking style.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the one you built look like? Sorry, I interrupted.
It's an offset style smoker, with which Aaron Franklin made popular with having a collector on the end of it, which is just this little kind of triangle looking box.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps with because sorry, I'm getting very technical about
No, you're good. Good. Love
about
it.
smoking
Really
stuff.
interesting. Go for it.
The flame and stuff will hit the wall usually with a smoker, but if you have the collector, it kind of gives another spot to where the heat can go, so it's not just backing up onto your meat.
Okay.
So it just kind of helps. And then, for me, I love offsets. I've also been wanting to make a more direct heat style cooker, like how you would find more east. Also, I guess like hill country style, which is made popular like by Snow's barbecue. They do a lot of direct heat cooking where you have the coals and like you take wood, burn down, make it into coals, and then you put it underneath the meat butts. You got a distance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like grilling where it's pretty close to it.
Gotcha.
But with that, you get the fat to render down, and it mixes with the coals, and you get like a special flavor, a smoke flavor with that versus your offset, which is just gonna be kind of that pure smoke flavor.
Gotcha.
So
Nice.
Love the technical
yeah.
stuff.
Taking notes over here.
I know, right?
So, I mean, it sounds like, basically your dad's an artist and he's passed that down, but through that, it's like you've found this sort of like meditation almost within brisket and within, building your own smoker and with a half a day of training, and which is awesome. That's so cool. But so like, I guess I have two questions. One, is that what it feels like in the quiet time of like, I put the briskets in there, I've sort of completed my task, but I don't know about you, but like if I'm doing something on the computer and I hit update and it's like, it's going to be 10 minutes, I sit there and watch it for 10 minutes. Because I'm like, that's the task I'm doing. So I sit here with it as it goes. Are you that way with brisket? Is it like, do you have the contemplative moments? Do you have, self-reflection or quiet time, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I would say now more so. Before, I would always be just stressed out of my mind. Is this going to cook right? When, especially in the beginning years.
Yeah.
But now, like, just relax into it. Like, it's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to, especially now that I kind of built in my heated rest into it, because before I would have to cook it overnight. And that was always kind of stressful. So now I added that in, so it just kind of makes things less stressful overall, to get it out on time. So I just try to, like, I've gotten more used to like how my cooker cooks now, and so I can kind of just add the wood in, just kind of keep an eye on it, and generally kind of try to do other things, but at the same time, it's also just peaceful just to be outside and hear the birds chirping and all that kind of stuff. And also just love hearing the fire crackle as well. That's also just kind of like a peaceful thing. I guess I feel like it's almost like if people go fishing or something like that. Though to me, it seems a little bit more interactive, I guess. I mean, I've never really gone fishing, so maybe it's more interactive than I think it is.
It's really not.
So I get to help control the fire, learn how it's kind of behaving and stuff, and what piece of wood next do I want to add? How is that going to affect everything? Is it going to burn clean? Is it going to spike the temperature, or is it going to just kind of hold the temperature where I have it? So yeah, I guess now just kind of get to relax a little bit more about it. So,
and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like you spent all this time setting the foundation, and maybe it's like would you say maybe it's a perfectionist streak, or?
I would definitely say so. Like I'm always criticizing myself, maybe a little bit too much. But like, I don't know, I just always want to try to be as perfect as I can, but also I've been better about also trying to let go of that perfection of, like you can't be perfect all the time. And, I don't know, it just makes life a lot easier if you're easier on yourself.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's super relatable for everybody. And it's something I do too, where it's like, I mean, each one, there's part of it that I feel like I've told myself is healthy because it's like, I want to learn as quickly as I can. So it's like after I've completed the task, and here's where it becomes unhealthy, is like, instead of celebrating that one worked out good, I immediately go to, okay, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
And I've got my list of like, let me make all these things better, which inherently that list is not bad. But if you don't celebrate the last thing that you did, you're just sort of running yourself into the ground. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
But, and that's kind of why I'm asking about the quiet moments that you get to have while you're participating in your art. It's like, those are so pivotal. They're so important. And a lot of people I don't think do them. And that's probably just because I don't.
Yeah.
Hard.
At least not as much as I should. I know I've done it enough to know what it is, and then I sort of just blitz through it. But anyway, so it's cool to hear you talk about the quiet times. And like I said, you're just building up that foundation over time to where now, you could, I don't know if you drink even, but you could just throw it in, sit down by the fire, crack something open.
Yeah.
A 7-Up if that's what you but,
maybe a hard kombucha every once in a while. Be a little fancy.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Get that 7-Up out of here.
Get that hard kombucha.
That's good. Heck yeah. So now that you've reached this place of like, of self-titled, I guess, not really, but it's like self-acceptance of your art as a brisketeer is not a word. I just want to say it because musketeers, as a brisketeer, a man of brisket. Where do you find the art is? What is the part that you say enjoy the most, or like look forward to the most, or like, oh, it's sweet, I'm at the part where I get to sculpt the meat? Am I at the part where I get to throw it in my homemade smoker? Like, what's the part that brings you that?
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but I guess for brisket itself, I guess it's more so sharing that with other people. Like they're always generally surprised at like how amazing it is. Like I'll have friends, because before I got to be an actual pit master, I would a lot of times bring what I made to work for my coworkers to have, and they would always like try to get.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. I want to say at least maybe at the beginning it probably was a little rough for them, but they were nice. Yeah. But over time it got better, and like they would always try to get like more people to. Like some people would try to like get more people to try it. Some people were like, "No, we need to keep the secret."
Yeah.
So they can have some more. Yeah, I guess as far as brisket, I guess more so sharing it with other people, and still learning I just learned somewhat recently like a new wrapping method. Aaron Franklin made popular the paper wrap brisket, and then Brad and his team at Leroy and Lewis, they made popular the foil boat method. And so trying just new things every once in a while, kind of change it up, see how it affects, see how you like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess as far as that, and then I mean barbecue in general, just recently started getting the sausage making, and trying to grow in that, just because sausage is kind of a blank canvas. You can do whatever you want, especially with brisket. It's more of a, especially here in Texas, it's definitely your tradition of just salt and pepper, smoke and thyme.
Mm-hmm.
Where sausage, you can kind of do whatever the heck you want.
And have you had any training with sausage? Or?
Just besides YouTube videos.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just diving in. Yeah.
Yeah. So initially, I mean, my first batch sausage, they had like a sausage stuffer attachment for your meat grinder, which my family got for me for Christmas, like I think a year ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was terrible. It took like 3 hours to stuff like, I don't know, like 3 pounds of sausage. Jeez. Or something. Like it took forever. It was not worth it. My arm was just so tired from trying to stuff it into the meat grinder.
Yeah.
But then I finally got an actual sausage stuffer, and that's been great to learn and just try to master of getting it full, but not popping the casing, because that's no fun. And so yeah, just.
So when you got into the sausage making, was that kind of the same process of just, I'm just going to do this, watch one video and then go?
I mean, watched a lot of videos.
Okay.
I was kind of holding off for a long time just because I guess I did have that trepidation of kind of fear, just because something new, and it's definitely, I don't know, I guess, casing sausage, like, I don't know, it's definitely something you don't normally see people do.
Right.
And it's also it's just something in my mind almost like, oh, that's something like you buy, like you don't make that.
Mm-hmm.
But then like I did make some sausage, and I was like, oh, this is like, with me not really knowing anything, like still came out pretty darn good. And,
okay.
Surprise.
All right.
So yeah, so just looking to kind of want to get better at that. And what was the question?
Oh, just like what your learning process is, because
Okay.
I find it, very interesting that, for welding, for brisket, for sausage, you kind of just are like, I'm going to do this and go, with very little, like, I don't want to say little research, but, you definitely are like, okay, I got this. And then you just go with it. Whereas, for people like me, if I'm going to like go into a new venture, I have to like look everything up. I need to make sure that I have all these steps ready before I can go on to the next process. And I want to make sure, this, like I usually prep a lot more before I just take that one step in, and start kind of learning, whatever that new skill is. And I feel like, there's a lesson to be learned of like, hey, just go and do it. In your philosophy of how you're learning and how you're doing stuff. So yeah, I was just curious.
I mean, I guess I feel like I'm, I don't know, maybe later on that I try more, but like I feel like I guess try, but also research at the same time. Like I've watched a ton of sausage making videos, and I feel like that's maybe the thing I've been most, I guess, resistant on trying. But I don't know. Like I feel like it's kind of like in tandem. Like you try it, you mess up, or then you watch a video like, oh, that's how he did it. And just kind of like taking steps as you go with both putting into practice and also doing as well. Like especially with for me doing brisket. Like before I started being like professionally doing it, like I was pretty darn slow at trimming. And probably still wasn't even like the greatest at it. I feel like, especially with doing professionally, doing 300 pounds on average a day.
Yeah.
Like definitely got the timing down and how I want to trim stuff. And it's definitely just that repetition. And like I've been reading, what's it called? It's like a Habits, James Clear or something.
Okay.
His book, and then like recently, like I just read it, like I think this morning, like it's not a duration of time to build a habit; it's the repetition of how many times you do it. Like it's not going to just be, oh, it's just 20 days or just 30 days. It's how many times can you get yourself to do it? And that's how you're going to build the habit of muscle memory and
right.
How you're going to do stuff.
Gotcha.
It's like outside looking in, like that's a really cool thing about what you do. Like not as somebody who does it, right? That there is a certain understanding that you can only get by being there, cutting the meat every day. You know, that it's like, I mean, every cow is going to be different, right? But there is a certain understanding between you and your subject matter, and the only way you can experience that is by living in that moment with it. I was thinking about that on the drive home today for some reason. I was like, there's no instruction booklet for, I said, jumping in and getting your hands dirty. You have to just get it and then assess problems as you go. But like, it's sort of like, I always think of The Last Airbender when he's doing water bending.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like, I love that everybody just gets that reference.
It's an amazing show.
Heck yeah.
But it's just like, as soon as you try to force it, it's lost. And that's the way it is with all art. It's like, if you're, passion beats perfection all the time. It's like, if you're just really passionate about it and you really want it to work out, it's going to beat a perfect product every time. And you're always going to arrive at a better place because somebody who's trying to do it, like classical music. If you listen to classical music, it's like, well, there's not a lot of passion in this, but if you throw on like some funk or something, I don't know, it's like you immediately catch the beat and you want to go with it, you know? Because there's a little bit more lively enthusiasm. I don't know if that's because we're 500 years closer or not, but it's being written. But but anyway, that it's just so cool that that you do that, and getting to see you do that, and that almost the person that you have to personify, or like the place you have to be emotionally, is very calm, quiet, and introspective. Where it's almost like you have to turn off the computer to get everything to flow smooth enough to get where you need to be. There's like quiet concentration, because I played sports through college. It's like, I don't know, it's just cool to see that in art when you see somebody get into the zone. So where's the, I guess my follow-up question for that then is like, what does the zone look like for you? Because I feel like it's different for everybody. It's like, is it a quiet space of mind? Is it like, I've got to go listen to Eminem's "Lose Yourself" right before I get this next brisket out? Like, how do you get yourself there, and what's it feel like when you're there?
I guess I feel like it's different, I guess, depending on like if it's actually work or if it's just on my own time. I guess I feel like for work, like I guess I'm just more on a deadline / time. Like there's just so much to do within the 8 hours that I got. And I don't know, I guess I just have that passion of I want the person that's going to have the brisket, I want them to have that best possible experience. So that just kind of drives me to just always trying to be as consistent as I can on the quality, especially of the trim or whatever. And I guess in some ways, it kind of becomes second nature. Like I was last time I got my hair cut, I was talking to the hairdresser and she was like, she'd been doing it for like 10 years. And she was like, oh, like I don't think about it too much. Like you just kind of do my thing or whatever. And then now she can have conversations with people. I guess I feel like I can kind of just drift off a little bit in a way with it. Just kind of think about other stuff if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I guess also try to focus on like what else do I need to get done for the day. Feel like I guess sometimes like I guess I describe it as like going down a river. Like you don't want to go down too fast where you're like making like white waters. You don't want to go too slow where you're just bored out of your mind, but you just want to go at the pace that you can still kind of take a look around, see the beauty of nature, but still feel like you're moving and not just stuck.
Like you're pushing that edge, right?
Yeah, like you just want to be in that sweet spot of moving but not almost killing yourself or something. You don't want to drown.
Yeah. So specifically, because I know you just referenced work, how long did it take you? Because so how long have you been a pitmaster at?
I guess about a year now. Yeah. I was in the garden department before that at a different store for 8 years. And I felt like for the first probably like 6 months, I felt like I was pretty bad. Everyone kept saying I was okay.
At your pitmaster position?
Yeah, as a pitmaster position. Especially with timing and stuff. Like I felt like the food was still good. It's just trying to get all the other stuff you're trying to knock out and stuff. I definitely felt like it definitely takes time to get that efficiency down. Not just like overall speed of what you're trying to do, but like if you're having to think about everything, then that's really what's going to slow you down, not you trying to like cut the meat faster or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember like the first time of like feeling in the zone and feeling like everything was good, everything with all the timing was good, you finally got the efficiency down? You remember what that was like?
I mean, it felt great.
Yeah.
So I'd also get like a thumbs up from my manager because he was always like, "You gotta get out on time." I was like, "I'm trying."
Heard.
So I like felt great when like I finally got everything done on time. And then like there'd be other days where I didn't. So I was like, so just now I'm definitely a lot more consistent on being able to get out on time, or if early if I need to be. If I stayed late like a previous day, trying to do extra things or something. So it's nice to be able to have now that a little bit more flexibility to do that. So,
how did you overcome some of those first 6 months? Because I know if I was 6 months and feeling like I was doing a terrible job, I would have a really hard time staying in that position, and then let alone like trying to actually push myself to overcome that. What were, I guess, some of the things you told yourself? How did you push past that adversity?
I mean, I guess the overall, passion that I had for barbecue, like I really wanted to do the best that I could. And I guess just also kind of just that, I don't know, like grit mindset, I guess, from my dad or something, like we don't give up, like we just keep going. And I guess to be honest, also, I'm a Christian, so just a lot of prayer, and stuff like that. Just trying to rely on God as well, to get me through those times. And yeah, it was definitely hard, but I'm definitely glad now I stuck it out. Like I remember like the first like the first real day that we had, like the grand opening weekend, like we were supposed to trim 700 pounds of brisket.
Oh, jeez.
And like I'm pretty sure I was dehydrated that day. I just felt like I just wanted to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my mind was like just going off like, you need to quit. Like you made a mistake. Like you should have not left the garden department. Just all this like negative stuff. But like talked with my parents, talked with friends and stuff, and they calmed me down and whatnot. No, like this is where you obviously should be. So just kind of stuck it out. Just kept putting that one foot in front of the other, and things slowly were getting better, and like just having those little wins just kind of help propel you to keep doing more and more. Like I don't know, life would be boring if I just gave up or didn't want to, just did the bare minimum.
I think a lot of people know exactly what that's like.
Yeah.
I mean, you also just don't get it, like, not you, but in general, it's like you don't get as invested in your life or your work if you're not trying. I mean, you just sort of sit there. That's like instead of the stone analogy, let's bring that back. Is that if you're not invested in it, I mean, that's just time wasted. You're just carrying boulders. Like, yeah, it is a waste of time if it's a waste of time to you. And that's, I mean, that's literally the only difference is like, if this is not a waste of time to you, then that's what's going to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
And that's a beautiful thing. I was going to tell you, one of the first week I was working there, Johnny, one of our other coworkers, takes out a brisket. And I hate fatty brisket. I've never liked it in my life. And he takes it out and he's like, oh, Paul worked today. Cool. He's like, this is a good one. Henry, come here. So it's like my first week or two is like, you're trying all the new stuff. So that you can, recommend it to people. And he cuts me this piece. It was delicious. It was fantastic, dude. And I was like, I got to meet this Paul guy. Befriend him.
Yes.
Enter his kitchen.
For real.
So anyway, it was a fatty piece of brisket and it was delicious. It was amazing. And like I said, I've never liked it before because it's always awesome. like almost like weird and gummy and like it sticks to your fingers. I don't know. It's just odd. It's always been not good. And it's like I had that and I was like, this is a new food for me. I like this a lot.
Awesome.
And that's just with the seasonings you have to use for the recipe, right? So I mean, like I imagine my mouth is watering just thinking about it. I imagine the stuff you're making is even way better than that. So I mean, this is just like well cooked and well prepped, right? So anyway, thank you for sharing that for sure. Thank you for sharing your art. That's a really, it is a wonderful gift. I mean, I've only had that one piece of your food. I mean, other than like a couple other chunks of brisket. But it's like, I mean, that made my day that day. Awesome. It's just like, it was good.
Awesome.
So yeah, really appreciate that.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me that. It's always awesome to hear.
That's why you're here today.
That one piece
that one piece of brisket separates a man from his podcast.
That's funny.
I have one other question and then kick it over to Michael. But so I'm really trying to draw out this connection. Like, is your grandfather on your father's side, is he also an artist? Is he also the type of person that's like dedication and everything? Or was your dad like the first of the family? Like, what does that look like? Because it seems like there's a big family connection to like, this is how you do things in a way that's going to arrive at a masterpiece, right? That seems like that's the entire culture around your upbringing, not to oversimplify, but so did it start prior to your family? Like, was it your father's family? Was your father's family? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to get at.
To be honest, not too sure. I didn't really know my grandfather super well. He spoke just straight Spanish. And my dad never taught me it.
Dude, same.
So never, and then I was also real young when he was around. So I never really got to know him super well. And then like, my dad's mom, she passed away when he was real young. So I never got to meet her. So I guess mostly, all my hard work kind of comes from my dad. I would assume him as well just came from his dad of just always working real hard. So yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
We at this point in the program like to share things. We've moved it around several times. We're trying to find a good spot for it. And I think around now is a good spot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we like to talk about things that are inspiring us right now, so that it gives people something to listen to when they're not here, which they should never not be here. But when they're not here, what else can they check out to enjoy? Maybe I give you a second to think about it, or you got something.
I think I'm good. Like, I mean, I would just say, like, I guess if you're interested in barbecue, I mean, I would check out Chud's Barbecue. He's been my hero.
You said Chud, Chuds?
Yes. I guess he just, somehow thought of like whatever the stuff is at the bottom of the smoker. That's, I think that's the story that he tells of how he got that name.
Oh, gotcha.
But I think his real name is Brad Robinson or Rob something like that.
Gotcha.
But like, if you ever want to get into barbecue, I mean, I would definitely say check out his videos. He's a phenomenal teacher and just real high production value on all the stuff. So it's amazing to watch and look at.
Nice.
I guess other than that, I would kind of say, as far as music, I really love Avi Copland. He's kind of more folk singer kind of guy. I like him a lot. He used to be the bass singer for Pentatonics.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you heard of that. So I like him a lot. I like his style and very chill, but it can be epic at the same time.
Dope.
Nice. Dope. For me, we had Anthony Bassini on last week.
Dude,
and
awesome.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. But after he was done, and I can't even tell you what the name of the song is because it's not released, but he like sat down on the couch and we were passing the guitar back and forth, and he played. It's like, oh, I wrote this song for a friend of mine, and it was amazing, dude.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
I can't get it out of my head. It's like this is he's an amazing guitarist, and that was the best song I've heard him play, and it was like it was beautiful. So that's living large in my mind. Anthony, if you're out there, give me the name of the song, please. I'll text you about it later. No,
yeah, right.
But yeah, so I mean, that was just to, see somebody play your guitar better than you can play it is pretty cool. I mean, it's like, oh, that's what it can do.
Yeah, right.
No, it's really amazing. So thanks, Anthony, for that. And that's what's been sort of keep me going, other than this exciting interview with you, dude. Like I said, that one piece of brisket. God is good for that, right? The little things, and I feel like there's always service built into great art. There's always some form of service built into it.
Yeah.
But what's been inspiring you, Michael?
Man, it is kind of crazy. I found a YouTube channel that is Master Chief's voice over a bunch of different things. So it's like Master Chief teaching you how to change a flat tire, or Master Chief doing this. And it's just like short, like 1 minute to 3 minute videos. But also this dude put out Master Chief Reads The Art of War. And so I was like, I've always wanted to read The Art of War. And so I just threw it on. It was an hour. And it's just Master Chief reading through all these like military, like old school, like military tactics. And you're like, oh man, that makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, okay, I understand why people like looked at this and, kind of elevated on this level. But that was the only way I could listen to it, was because it was Master Chief's voice, and it just like came on. I'm a huge Halo nerd. And so like to hear that, I was like, I'm actually invested in this. And so like there's a couple other like, 1 hour, 3 hour videos that are on there that I've been reading through. That's books that I wanted to read for a long time, but now I'm actually like listening to them through Master Chief. And so that's just such a crazy world we live in that you can actually do that. So that's been inspiring me. Yeah.
So would you listen to just all your favorite books if, say, Audible picked him up and was like,
dude, if Master Chief read any book, I would just start reading. I would start listening to it. It is, it's wild.
50 Shades of Master Chief?
I mean,
maybe. That's a maybe.
It's a hard maybe. I'd give it like, a chapter or two.
I got to at least start listening.
Right? You can't not.
I'm only human. No, that's cool. That reminds me of some guys doing like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the same thing. Like just redubbing him over any movie.
And apparently it's just like AI generated voice of like Master Chief or whoever the voice is. There's one that's like what's it? Kratos from God of War is reading through like it's something like how to tame your anger or something, and it's like another 2-3 hour video, and I was like, I'll listen to this. But apparently it's just AI generated, and they put the text in, I guess, and it shoots it out, but it just hits me in the feels, and I'm like, yeah, this is dope, and it's inspiring me to keep on writing.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing.
Yeah, for sure.
So with your inspiration aside, can it ever be aside? No. So like, what are you looking forward to? What's like, so you're picking up making sausages. What are you looking forward to with that process? And then like brisket, like what are your projects upcoming? Like, what are you excited about? What gets Paul jazzed?
I mean, I guess just try to, almost just try to perfect the fundamentals of what I'm already doing. Like the other day, made some ribs, and just like, it was definitely by far the best ribs I've done, like at home. I mean, thanks to all the time I've had at work cooking ribs now. So just trying to implement and just hone the fundamentals of doing stuff. I guess to me, that's where I guess the real art comes in, because like, especially with Texas barbecue, it's very simple, especially with briskets, just salt and peppers as your rub. And just trying to perfect that to where it creates something magical, where it shouldn't be better than what it is. Like with a lot of other barbecues, like a lot of people would like to put a whole bunch of sauce or inject the meat with different things, and that can be good, especially like if you do competition barbecue, which I don't really have an interest in. Just like they try to make the one bite, because the judge can only have one bite of the food, and it has to be like just this symphony of flavors, but it's not something you would want to have like as a meal. It would just be too much. So to me, just trying to find, I guess, the perfection in the simplest of what I can. Because like you can have just very basic ingredients, but if you can execute it well, then you're going to make great stuff. And then I guess based off that, then you can try to branch out and do a little bit of other things. But if you can get the basics down, then you can move on.
Sorry.
Wow, Michael. Thanks a lot. Let me cut to you. Where are you at? There you go. Drinking out of the massive jug. Now, so what I think is cool about that is like especially athletes, because that's kind of what I was raised on. I was watching like athlete documentaries and stuff, but it's like they always talk about if things are getting tough, go back to the fundamentals. And it's like greats of the sport. Like I was raised on tennis, so it's like Roger Federer is talking about this, and it's like won at least as many. I don't know where they all ended up, but at least as many majors as anybody in history, and is an amazing player. And he's still talking about hitting the right amount of topspin on his forehand. Just like very basic stuff. And I'm wondering, as that is the focus, does it feel like that leaves room? What am I trying to say? So you make a complete structure around the basics, and that is so solid, and then you just let yourself go and do the rest of it. So it's like if you make the structure strong enough, it's not as though there's no gaps in the structure. So it's like the art part of it has a very clear and defined area that it can fill up. Mm-hmm. And so then it fills up the entire area, right? Mm-hmm. If that's clear enough. But like, is that how it feels to you? Or is this still like I'm pursuing the basics and I'm not trying to think about it too much other than that? That's such a vague question. I'm sorry.
I guess, I guess it feels like I can have the basics, I can have the fundamentals, and it leads me to not have to stress about what I'm doing, which makes, I guess, the overall process more enjoyable, which leads me to, I guess, more focusing on the people's reaction rather than, I guess, my own of trying to perfect it, I guess, in a way of, because then I'll just criticize myself on everything. I guess before it'd be more negative. Now I feel like in a more positive place. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I can change this or whatnot. I guess it just allows for peace, I guess, if you can focus on the fundamentals first rather than trying to change everything or try to change at least one thing or something.
Mm-hmm. I think that's such an interesting idea. Pardon me as I just drift further away from anything that makes sense. But what I think is cool is that when there is a focus on yourself and ego or selfishness or whatever you want to say in any pursuit, but definitely in the more artistic pursuits, it's like it all falls apart. It's like you're saying, you start self-defeating as you start breaking it apart at the seams, and then it becomes something you don't even want to participate in anymore. It like very quickly falls apart. But then when there is, we were talking about personifying the other on a podcast a while ago, that it's like as soon as you bring in this idea of the person that is enjoying your art, and once you make it about them, then suddenly, like you said, you achieve this peacefulness where it's like, I'm giving this in service to something. And it's almost like the giving makes it perfect. And so it's like when you try to bring perfection yourself to your art, then it's going to fall flat. But if you reach that peacefulness and add service to it, then it just sort of congeals into perfection. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's this idea that's at the edge of what I'm able to describe, but it's something that's formulating that I think is a cool idea. Anyway, anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm sorry, I'm sucking all the air out of the room with this.
You're good. I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about how, service, now you bring that up, how service, impacts your desire to, I guess, be good at what you do. Because I know when we were talking about a little bit before the podcast started, you were talking about like, just serving people is, you get a lot of joy out of that. How does that impact your ability to continue to make better barbecue or better brisket or be better at your job?
I mean, I guess for me, it's like I can get down on myself for not executing at what I want, but if I know I'm serving other people, that definitely brings a joy and a peace. That one, I guess, at work, especially if I'm serving people that are obviously going to eat the food, but also just serving my coworkers as well. I'm helping them be able to have a job as well. Like, no one's going to come if the meat's bad. So if I can do the best that I can, then that's also going to help the guys cutting the meat, whoever's going to take the order, whoever's giving it to the person. If I can do my part to help them as well, have the job that they at least somewhat want to have. I don't know if they want to be in barbecue exactly, but at least they have a job and I can help be a part of them having a job. Like before, for a while, like I was saying, like I would maybe take that on a little too much. Like if we weren't doing the numbers that we want to, I can only control what I can control.
Yep.
And so I don't know, it's just like you can do whatever job, but if you don't see a sense of purpose in it, then it's not going to have any meaning. You're not going to have any joy. But you can find joy or service, like just find who you're serving, and that will make any job bearable at least.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, that really struck out to me when we were talking earlier.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good.
Okay, I'll go ahead now.
You're allowed to talk.
I'm ruining this. To what extent do you feel like, you mentioned your faith earlier, how much do you attribute to that? Is it a precursor to like the way you live? Or is it something that is maybe like you found after adopting the lifestyle that you were leading? Like chicken or egg, I guess is kind of what I'm asking. Like if one's a byproduct of the other, or if they're sort of separate.
I mean, I definitely feel like following God definitely has helped, I guess, soften my heart for people. If I've been given grace by him, then I want to also give it to other people as well. And I want them to have that same grace. When it just makes it a lot easier, like when other people mess up, like your initial reaction can get to be angry, like, why are they doing this? Why are they almost like, why are they intentionally messing up? But maybe something happened. Maybe they were overwhelmed with customers. Maybe they got busy. Maybe something else happened. Just try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, as much as possible.
Feel that.
And I guess, I mean, it definitely brings, I guess, also a sense of peace. Like I was saying earlier, like I was struggling with kind of the beginnings of being a pitmaster and just kind of rely on that. Like everything will be okay. Like it's not, my identity is not in me being a pitmaster, but me being a son of God. And he defines my value, and he loves me, and it's helped me get through the hard times that I feel like this is me, or maybe men and women as well, like they can have their identity in what their job is, and just kind of be able to let that go, that I can provide value, not just through the barbecue, but just being me to people. And that just helps make life a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Points.
Yeah. And take it away as you take my second job. No, I think that's as natural and good of an idea to end on as I think we're going to find, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Paul the Pitmaster, everybody. Snaps or clap in your car on your drive home, wherever you're at. Thank you so much for coming on, man. That was awesome.
I guess, should we say like where you could find his food potentially?
For the time being, until he opens his own establishment sometime in the future. No, are you comfortable sharing that, or you want to just like, it does go out on the internet, so I'm giving you the option right now in front of everyone listening. No pressure.
I mean, if you live in New Braunfels, come by the HEB New Braunfels 1. Love to meet you if you're around. And might be changing locations somewhat soon, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, find him on Instagram, wherever that's at.
Yes. Type my name, Paul Osoria.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll pop up.
How do you spell it?
Not too many. Paul, and then Osoria, Osoria. And I'm the guy that's not dead. I Googled myself once, and that's one of the things that popped up first. So like, no, apparently I'm dead. So yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, so check him out. Find out wherever you can find his brisket. Follow us on social media. Check out our YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces, or Spotify. And until next time, shout out to creative thinkers all over the globe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.